government decided to reopen Umrah pilgrims. Good afternoon, viewers in Indonesia and Singapore. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of informations from business, economic, and capital market sector. With me, Clara Antawijaya, and this is Market Headlines. And yes, viewers, we are going to start Market Headlines with the news coverage from Saudi Arabia government that decided to open Umrah pilgrims for Indonesia.
Transportation Ministry warmly welcomes the reopening of Umrah flight for Indonesia by November 1st, 2020. But Saudi authority only allows Saudi Airlines as the transportation mode for Umrah pilgrims. Regarding the decision, Transportation Ministry along with Religious Affairs Ministry ensure that they have coordinated with Saudi Aviation Authority to allow Indonesian Airlines in carrying Umrah pilgrims.
Kami tentu saja dari Kementerian Perhubungan telah berkoordinasi dengan Kementerian Agama dan juga otoritas penerbangan di Arab Saudi agar maskapai nasional dapat kembali melayani jemaah umroh asal Indonesia. Dan Indonesia dapat dimasukkan dalam sistem e-umroh di Arab Saudi.
The Umrah reopening by Saudi Arabia government is part of trial which will be implemented until end of December 2020 by granting allocation of Umrah visa through electronic system or e-Umrah. This step is taken by Saudi government to ease the controlling of pilgrims' health protocols implementation. From Jakarta, Wicky Adrian for IDX Channel.
Indeed, it is a good news for Indonesia's Muslim that Saudi Arabia government reopens Umrah. But the bad news is the cost of performing Umrah in Saudi Arabia may increase, as the registration's cost would likely to increase up to 30%. Umrah travel business actors stated that there will be an increase in package price. Umrah registrations cost during the COVID-19 pandemic will likely to increase by 30% higher compared to Umrah costs before the COVID-19 pandemic. Rusmiati, as the owner of the party Indo Travel, said that price increase due to current rules that are applied to comply with the health protocol during the Umrah in the Holy Land of Saudi Arabia. These rules include lodging places or hotels that are required to have 4 and 5 stars, also PCR test for 2 times before and after undergoing Umrah periods.
Harus adanya PCR test, kemudian pesawat tidak boleh penuh, hotel hanya bintang 4 dan 5 saja, dan 1 kamarnya hanya untuk berdua. Kemudian di bus juga itu tidak boleh penuh, harus sesuai dengan peraturan-peraturan, dan kemudian dikarantina selama 3 hari. Apabila dilihat presentasinya, harga itu sekitar 20-30% akan menang.
The Central Bureau of Statistics recorded inflation throughout October 2020 of 0.07%. Highest inflation was happened in Kudus, it's Java, as much as 0.80%. The inflation data of October, which was released by Central Bureau of Statistics, stated that there was 0.07% of inflation. Therefore, as of year-on-year, Indonesia experienced 1.44% inflation. Inflation was contracted by the price developments for various commodities in October 2020, which is indicated an increase. He also highlighted some commodities that contributed dominantly to the current inflation rate. The biggest contributor is red chili with 0.09% contributions and shallots by 0.02% and cooking oil by 0.09%.
Di mana Anda cabai merahnya itu adalah sebesar 0,09%, sementara andil bawang merahnya adalah 0,02%. Permintaan yang pulih atau faktor supply mulai terkendala akibat musim hujan. Kalau kita lihat kenaikan harga cabai merah dan bawang merah, tadi sudah saya sampaikan bahwa cabai merah terjadi kenaikan harga di 82 kota IHK, itu lebih karena cuaca yang tidak terlalu berpihak.
The highest inflations occurred in Sibolga City, with the inflation rate of 1.04%, while the lowest occurred in Jakarta, Cirebon, Bekasi, and Jember, with the inflation rate of 0.01%. Jakarta, Gilang Praditya for IDX Channel. The National Consumer Protection Agency, or BPKN, recorded significant increase of consumer complaints in 2020, especially in e-commerce platform right in the moment of COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, the agency keeps trying to socialize consumers' rights and obligations so that it can go along with the current regulation. In the midst of pandemic, for sure, people buy more stuffs from e-commerce platform. Following that, the National Consumer Protection Agency, or BPKN, has recommended that e-commerce platforms ramp up their user protections measures following a rise of online marketplace complaints during the health crisis. BPKN advocacy expert even say that the e-commerce platforms should adhere to general data protections regulations and make their terms and conditions clear so consumers could understand their rights and obligations when doing transactions in the platform.
Angka 272 ini adalah kasus perdagangan melalui sistem elektronik, lonjakannya cukup tinggi di masa pandemi ini. Alhamdulillah hari ini dan melalui upaya keras yang dilakukan Pak Dirjen, Pak Ferry, kita sudah punya banyak perangkat, mulai dari Undang-Undang 7 2014, kemudian ada PP 80 2020, dan terakhir itu Pak Ferry sudah mengusulkan dan sudah ditandatangani oleh Mendak, Pak, ya, Permendak 50 tahun 2020 tentang pengawasan perdagangan melalui sistem elektronik.
The agency had received a growing number of complaints from online shoppers about accounts allegedly hacked by the sellers, including through phishing and one-time password theft during the pandemic. From Jakarta, Muhammad Olga for IDX Channel. Market headlines will be right back with the news coverage regarding clean energy status.
Pembahasan pasal demi pasal Omnibus Law RUU Cipta Kerja menimbulkan berbagai polemik.
Nolak RUU Omnibus Law, khususnya klaster ketenagakerjaan yang kami anggap mendegradasi hak-hak pekerja Indonesia.
BPS mengumumkan terjadi deflasi di bulan September.
Tapi di sisi lain, hampir seluruh sektor produktif ini mengalami pertumbuhan yang minus, maka perbankan pasti akan mengalami kesulitan untuk menyalurkan pembiayaan.
Sebetulnya industri hilir itu lokal itu udah siap. Jadi pemerintah juga nggak perlu lagi menarik investor untuk industri hilir. Jadi pemerintah cukup menarik investor untuk industri bahan baku.
Saat ini lebih mudah untuk mendapatkan informasi mengenai perkembangan ekonomi dan bisnis di Indonesia dengan aplikasi IDX Channel. Mulai dari berita, makro dan mikroekonomi, politik hingga hiburan. Anda juga dapat berbagi artikel, foto, dan video ke semua platform media sosial yang Anda miliki. Beragam informasi hari ini bisa di-download di dalam aplikasi idxchannel.com. IDX Channel, Your Trustworthy Economic, Business, and Capital Market Channel. Welcome back to Market Headlines. The government plans to issue a presidential regulations on renewable energy this year. It aims to boost the development of clean energy and reach its energy mix target, whereas the country has set out to achieve 23% renewable energy use by 2025 and also 31% by 2050. The regulations are set to govern the pricing and procurement of the new and renewable energy and set green energy incentives, among other provisions. Energy and Mineral Resources Ministry Electricity Director General Rida Mulyana say that the regulations sought to attract investors for the development of renewable energy in Indonesia, also help the country to achieve its energy mix target. For your information, the country has set out to achieve 23% of renewable energy used by 2025 and 31% by 2050. However, Indonesia is struggling to meet its target. Regulations stipulate that 17.5% of Indonesia's energy usage should have been from renewable resources by 2019, but the country only achieved a 12.36% mix that year. For now, the government renewable energy targets dominated by hydropower and geothermal energy. In July, the International Energy Agency urged the government to reform regulations to accommodate investment to boost Indonesia's renewable energy mix and increase its electrification capacity. Investment in renewables had been held back by the uncertainty of the regulatory environment, as the agency noted. From all sources, IDX Channel. And yes, viewers, climate change in many ways challenge the world, but in the other hand, access to energy is very important for social and economic development, especially for the developing country like Indonesia. And therefore, Indonesia takes issues seriously. We can see on how government plans to issue a presidential regulations on renewable energy this year. And this is a good movement since it can attract investors on clean energy development in Indonesia. Some business actors even admit that the renewable energy deliver better returns on investment. So, well, to know more about that, we're going to have further discussions with Sami Hamzah as the chairman of Energy and Mineral Resources at Apindo. Hello, sir. How are you?
Fine, thank you, Clara.
Yes, sir. It's really good to know. Sir, our topic is really interesting. Even clear energy gets surprisingly big role in U.S. presidential debate between Trump and Biden. But while, sir, clean energy in Indonesia has started adding more renewable energy to its energy mix. So how is the progress so far?
Well, I think that the progress is, I would say it could be better, let's put it that way, knowing that Indonesia is a country that has a very big potential for renewables. And we are short of energy in Indonesia. I think the progress could be better. Maybe that's the short answer.
All right, sir. And do you know that Indonesia has started to adding more new renewables energy to our energy mix? And as we gather the data from the Ministry of Mineral Resources, and Indonesia has set out to achieve 23% of renewable energy usage in 2025, which is 5 years ahead. And if we talk about 2030, the target will be raised up to 30%. Do you think that the target is realistic enough for you?
No, obviously we're quite way behind with the achieved or with the target. I think Indonesia will have to do much more if they would like to achieve a number of 25 or 23% in 4 or 5 years from today. And we need to understand renewable energy projects is a long-term project. The development of a renewable energy project can take between, from exploration all the way until first production could take between 5 to 10 years. So if you were to explore renewable or start a renewable project today, you will only be able to put it on stream, let's say in 2025, 26, 27, or even maybe even beyond that. So for Indonesia to be able to reach that number, it has to be a very quick to put projects on stream.
All right, sir. So I would like to know your perspective in here. How attractive is actually Indonesia's renewable energy prospect in the terms of business actors?
Well, you have to separate between the potential of renewable in Indonesia as a country,
all right,
and Indonesia as an investment destination. And I think if you look at the potential of renewable in Indonesia, whether that is geothermal, solar, hydro, and biofuel, I think Indonesia has a huge potential. It has nearly every aspect of renewable energy you can develop in Indonesia. So I think if you look at from that standpoint, I think Indonesia could easily be a country of destination for investment for renewable. On the other hand, I think we all know that Indonesia is still working on getting our attractiveness for investment destination higher. I think we are still working very hard in doing that. I think we have a lot of challenge in Indonesia, not only the permits, but also the attractiveness of the tariffs, the attractiveness of the human resources, the attractiveness of financial destination. I think that's something that we need to work very hard as a country. I think we're not there yet. We're still in the, I believe, still in the, is it 70s of the list investment destination worldwide, and I think we need to work ourselves up the chart to be able to be the prime investment destination for renewable.
All right, sir. So if you say like that, we have a lot of potential in here in Indonesia, but still we are not there yet. So I would like to know your perspective if you can compare Indonesia with other ASEAN countries, let's say the neighbor countries like Singapore, Malaysia, and the Cambodia and stuff. Where is Indonesia's positions in here in terms of clean energy?
Well, the good thing is not many neighboring countries have the potential as we have. I mean, in terms of, I'm talking about the immediate neighbor like Singapore. Obviously, Singapore is a small country, only 4 to 5 million population, and nearly do not have any renewable potential in Singapore. Malaysia is a bit different, Vietnam, Thailand. But again, if you look at the size of the country, whether that's population or the acreage of the country, I think Indonesia has probably the best among the Asian or ASEAN in this case country. Yeah, you just take one good example like geothermal. Indonesia has, I think, 40% of world geothermal potential here in Indonesia. And we're only utilizing a fraction of that. So for us to be able to develop geothermal in a short and medium term, we will have to do a lot of attractiveness of investment for us to be able to develop that. And the same thing, similar thing for other renewable energy like hydro, like solar, biofuel, wind energy, etc. So I think we're, in terms of attractiveness in compare even to a neighboring country in ASEAN or in Asia, I think we are very, very attractive. We have the potential to be able to develop this renewable for the better of the country, of the people.
All right, sir. You mentioned so many things about clean energy. There are so many kinds of clean energy in here, like hydro, geothermal, and solar. Which one do you think that is very attractive in Indonesia?
Well, to be one of the renewable energy that has already been developed, as I mentioned before, is actually geothermal. I think we're producing, I don't have the number in front of me, but I think multiple thousand megawatts of geothermal electricity today in Indonesia, and we have much more potential. I mean, if we are to be able to develop that, I think that could create jobs, that could create a benefit for the country, could create benefit for the people. So I think alone on geothermal, we have a very big potential. Another one is actually solar. I mean, we are a tropical country. We have potential to develop solar energy here in Indonesia, all across Indonesia. We have sun. We have sun nearly for the whole of the year. We are also now developing, as you may heard, our battery industry in Sulawesi. I think that's a good step towards a strategic development of renewable as a whole. So I think those are the two. But I think, if you go across the board, I think hydro is the same. You have so many hydro potential in Indonesia, and I'm talking about not mini hydro, even the mega hydro, 500 megawatts or even bigger, in Papua, in Kalimantan, in Sulawesi. So I think across the board, we have a very big potential of renewable energy in Indonesia.
All right, sir, when you put it that way, we know that Indonesia has a lot of potential in here when we talk about clean energy, right, sir? Yes. Yes, sir. Thank you for your time with us, and thank you for the explanations about clean energy, because, Indonesians need to know more about that. We need to be more aware of that because we have a lot of potential in here, and we need to still develop it. And yes, sir.
I mean, lastly, maybe just one last thing, Clara, which I'd like to pass on as we close this session. I think it's important that Indonesia needs to be aware that fossil fuel is slowly phasing out. Predominantly, our energy production today is fossil fuel, whether that's oil, gas, or coal. And I think Indonesia needs to understand, with the potential that they have on renewable and the trend, the global trend on phasing out of fossil fuel and transitioning into renewable, it is something that Indonesia needs to think very hard and have a strategic step towards that transition. Yeah.
I agree with you, sir. So all the best for the renewable energy in Indonesia. And yes, viewers, stay with us because market headlines will be right back after this quick break.
Kemajuan di dalam digital banking itu meningkat. Ini menunjukkan bahwa digitalisasi is here to stay.
Nama saya Devisa Novel, jabatan saat ini di IDX Channel adalah sebagai produser dan sekaligus presenter program yang dibawakan saat ini dengan nama IDX Second Session Closing, terkait juga dengan kondisi kapital market Indonesia dan perkembangannya dari waktu ke waktu. Dan saya sangat senang untuk belajar dan berkecimpung di berita ekonomi, khususnya di kapital market. Pergerakan indeks harga saham gabungan sepanjang perdagangan hari ini tertekan, level 5 ribuan kembali ditinggalkan. Bagaimana analisis Anda?
Masih ada peluang turun lebih lanjut. Kalau misalkan regionalnya memerah, maka tidak tentu kemungkinan kita juga akan ketularan, kan?
Dan beberapa perbankan yang diduga melakukan transaksi mencurigakan, dan semoga bisa menjadi salah satu referensi untuk Anda dan seperti apa ke depannya.
Welcome back to Market Headlines. Let's take a look at the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement. So earlier today, JCI was opened at the level of 5,092.94. And then approaching the closing time in the first session, the index was on the level of 5,112.45. And the index was showing weakening trend by the second session's closing time. The index was closed at the level of 5,115.12. And in short, JCI went down 0.26%. And next, we are going to see the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. So rupiah opened at the level of 14,718. Rupiah was also showing weakening trend towards US dollar. I was closed at a level of 14,642. In summary, rupiah went down 0.16%. Step aside from the market situations, let's move on into COVID-19 news coverage. As a high people mobility led to a higher risk of COVID-19 transmissions, epidemiologists suggest the COVID-19 task force to cooperate with the telecommunications providers. This aims to track people movement.
Long weekend is expected to not add more COVID-19 cases, as high people mobility led to a higher risk of COVID-19 transmission. Epidemiologist of Pajajaran University Dwi Agustian suggested the COVID-19 task force to cooperate with telecommunication providers to track people movement, especially in long weekend. The step is also aimed to know which regions or areas with the highest visitors or crowd as COVID-19 transmission haunts.
Bagaimana mungkin barangkali Satgas ini bisa bekerja sama dengan para provider untuk men-track pergerakan itu. Dan saya yakin itu yang sudah dilakukan oleh para peneliti yang tadi saya sebutkan di negara lain dengan men-track aktivitas handphone. Karena itu sangat identik dengan wisatawan. Tanya sajalah, mana sih ada wisatawan yang nggak pakai handphone untuk selfie? Selalu kan? Dan pasti posting. Nah kalau posting ada internet connection.
The epidemiologist doesn't deny that people's high mobility can increase COVID-19 cases, so that this should be anticipated by educating people to obey the health protocols. From Jakarta, Ade Firmansyah for IDX Channel.
And yes, viewers, as coronavirus pandemic takes a big role on current economic situations, here it is an update data about coronavirus globally. And the news close our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, your trustworthy economic business and capital market channel. And before saying goodbye to you all, I would like to remind you on what Mom said. Please do comply with the health protocol by using mask, physical distancing, and avoiding crowd. Also washing your hand often with soap through overflowing water. And in the midst of pandemic, keep it in mind that recreational area only open for 50% capacity, so it can hamper COVID-19 transmissions without making a crowd. And then I'm Clara Antawijaya. Have a nice evening and stay safe.